Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jack here, bringing you guys week 2 of season 4 of the Showdown Battle League. Going to be doing a post commentary today, and today I was facing Carlos of the Oklahoma City Electivire. We faced a decent amount over the past year. We played in season 2 for the final week of the regular season. He beat me. We played in the Gen 2 doubles tournament. Then we were in the same division in season 3, so we played twice. And then I also faced him twice in the NU offseason. One of the games being in the championship where I managed to beat him. So overall, we've had a lot of games over the past year, and they generally tend to be pretty difficult to prepare for. He's a very good coach, and he tends to draft very bulky teams, which can be very difficult to prepare for unless you know what you're doing. Just because with so many walls, it could be very easy to be in a situation where you just can't break those walls, and he's able to just stall you out. So looking at his team though, especially this season, he had a lot of bulk with Mega Aggron and Toxapex, Tangrowth, Nidoqueen, Go Bulky, Aromatisse. I think is super underrated. But what surprised me more is actually how much raw offense he had. Kyurem Black, Terrakion, Nidoqueen, he brought all 3 of those. But even the things he didn't bring, like Jolteon, Delphox, Mismagius, Scyther actually, there's a lot of power on his team, which is actually difficult to prepare for as well. And looking at what he brought, he got 3 walls, 3 offense. It's a pretty balanced team, and I knew this was probably going to be a difficult match, so I really prepped hard this week. What he brought, I'm not super surprised by. For these games, I have a little notepad on my computer where I just put down their team, the moves they're using, their EV spreads, so I can record all that stuff. I think I predicted all 6. I was wondering if he might bring Jolteon or Delphox, but neither of those got brought. Looking at my team, I decided to mix things up from last week, bringing both my tier 1s and also Uxie being something I haven't brought before. But starting off from going left to right, I brought Cobalion, and this is a sub-calm mindset, which is meant to just set up any point during the game, and with the combination of Flash Cannon and HP Ground, I hit everything neutrally or super effectively, and I can just set up on things like Toxapex, can't really break my subs, and put in a lot of work versus his team, depending on what coverage he brings for this thing. I think it can definitely put in some work. Uxie is physically defensive. It's mainly there as a Terrakion answer, because that thing is, I think, it's a big threat to my team. Not too much it really deals with it, especially if it's Choice Bandit or a Life Orb. So this can take hits pretty well and go back with a Psychic. I've also got Knock Off, Thunder Wave, and Stealth Rock because he has not too much hazard removal on his team. Well, his only answer is Scyther, which I didn't think would be brought, and it's not too much of a threat to my team anyway. So setting up rocks, probably going to be a lot of switching this game. It's going to be super helpful. Greninja, just a Life Orb 3 attack set with spikes because, again, I'm trying to emphasize hazard stacking against him. Couldn't really bring Toxic Spikes because look at his team, he's got 2 poison types and also Aggron, so not going to be super effective there, but regular spikes can be pretty helpful wearing things down. Mega Altaria is half wall, half attacker set. It's max HP, max special attack with Roost, and I've got a Hyper Voice, Draco Meteor, and Fire Blast. You can pretty much, take hits from Jolteon, take fighting hits from Terrakion, and just fire back hard with stab hit moves and Fire Blast for coverage. Draco Meteor does a decent amount of things like Toxapex and Nidoqueen. Fire Blast is good for things like Mega Aggron, and if he's Kyurem Black, it gets choice locked into Outrage or something like that. I can switch in, I can go for Hyper Voice and knock it out. It's pretty much meant to act as kind of half as a wall and half as an attacker. Porygon 2 is a mixed set, mixed bulk both sides, with Bolt Beam coverage as well as Toxic and Recover. Pretty standard stuff. Trace, I can I trace, actually you'll see in the game, I trace the filter off Mega Aggron, potentially trace Regenerator, so I don't need to use Recover as much. Other than that, just a pretty standard set. And the most interesting set I brought was actually the Jirachi one. I spent a while trying to figure out what I wanted to do Jirachi this game, and I was wondering if I'd want to replace it with something else, but I ended up going with the set as Psychic, Calm Mind, Skill Swap, and Wish. The idea with Skill Swap is that if I can take the filter off of Mega Aggron, which I think might be a switch into this thing, and after a few Calm Mind boosts, even super effective moves like Nidoqueen's Earth Power or Delphox's Fire Blast, I can easily take those with the combination of filter and the Calm Mind boost, and things like knockoffs, I can take those pretty well. The filter, Earthquake, with filter and the boost, Jirachi becomes very difficult for his team to take down, and at +6, even if Psychic resists like Aggron, they're still going to be taking a lot from Psychic, and the set is just meant to punch holes in his team and be a difficult thing for him to revenge kill and deal with. Alright, so for lead matchup, I'm just going to go off with Uxie because I want to get Stealth Rocks right away because he didn't bring any hazard removal. He leads with Aggron. I'm thinking, alright, we're probably just going to trade Rocks here, which is not an issue. I have Altaria as a Rocks weakness before I Mega Evolve, but that's not really a big deal. I'm thinking at this point, okay, because he has Stealth Rocks on Aggron, I don't think he has Rest, and he didn't bring Aromatisse, so I'm just going to go for a Thunder Wave, because I don't think he's going to have a way to remove it, and it's actually kind of funny, he has the exact same thought process with Thunder Wave, so first 2 turns we pretty much do the exact same thing, which is pretty funny. I decided to go right into Jirachi because I don't know if this thing has Earthquake, and if it doesn't, I can easily set up on it. I'm going to try right away to go for the skill swap, because I want to see if I can get the filter on just Jirachi. I actually get the Regenerator, which is, kind of helpful. It means that, Tangrowth switches out is not going to get that health back from the Stealth Rock damage, and it means if I have to switch out early, I'm still going to have a decent amount of health. And I decided to go right for the Calm Mind because he's probably going to go for the knockoff, maybe the Earthquake, but I can take these hits pretty well. And I just want to get a few Calm Mind boosts up so that Nidoqueen can't revenge kill me, and at that point, not much in his team really can, deal with Jirachi super well. He has to go for the knockoff, and it does a decent amount. I'm guessing also from the fact that he doesn't have leftovers, he's probably like an Assault Vest set. There we go. He goes to double knock as I go for the Wish. He goes back into Aggron as I go for another Calm Mind. And at this point, I kind of misplay, or actually, I don't even think I misplay. I think Carlos just makes a very good play. I go for the skill swap as he uses that as an opportunity to go into Terrakion. And that doesn't, he gives him Regenerator and gives me Justify, but that doesn't really matter either way. And I'm looking in the calcs, I'm thinking, okay, if he's Choice Band, Close Combat does a decent amount, but my team doesn't really deal with Terrakion super well. And I'd be okay with trading with a decent amount of health on Jirachi, knowing I could still get back to full health against like Toxapex, potentially Tangrowth, as long as I don't switch into like a knockoff or anything. It's not like Kieran Black's Choice Scarf, but I can take hits and I can get back up to full health, and I'd rather get rid of Terrakion. It's a big issue to my team. So I take the Close Combat, it ends up being Life Orb. So it does a decent amount, but I'm able to get the Psychic off and knock it out, which is super helpful. He decides to go into Nidoqueen, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's a modest Life Orb, he's just going to straight up knock me out, and I still think this thing has a decent amount of usefulness. So I'm just going to go right into Porygon 2, which can take hits pretty well from this thing. I know it gets Focus Blast or Superpower, but they're still not going to do a whole ton, because Nidoqueen's offense isn't super great. Like, it's not bad, but it relies a lot on its coverage and its raw power. He goes for Earth Power, and with this damage, okay, I can tell he's not Life Orb, and he's most likely Timid, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe Expert Belt, but I'm not entirely sure why you use Expert Belt over Life Orb, so I'm thinking probably Choice Scarf for this point, which makes sense. At least one Choice Scarf, that's not super unreasonable. Right here I should go for Recover because I want to keep Porygon 2 healthy. I need to switch into a decent amount, and I can't take a knockoff. I lose too much bulk from taking a knockoff from Tangrowth, so I just go into Mega Altaria. And I know he has Sludge Bomb, but I'm just going to Mega up and just go for Roost to keep myself healthy. He goes for a double knockoff here. I'm guessing he was predicting me to go into Jirachi on the predicted Sludge Bomb. But the fact that he doesn't go for a Sludge Bomb here is pretty nice, because I am able to get it back to full health without having to taking like 40 to 50 from Sludge Bomb. I decided to go for the Fire Blast. I'm thinking, okay, Mega Aggron. This is probably his most probable switch in here, but I do miss, which sucks, but it's not like a very big deal. This Mega Aggron, I'm pretty sure it doesn't have Rest, so I can just wear it down. I decided to go into Porygon 2 and actually Trace Filter, which ends up being pretty important just a second here. I go for Discharge. I know it doesn't do a lot, but I just want to get some chip damage. He goes for Thunder Wave. It's kind of like last week, where like Thunder Wave, like I'm already slower than pretty much everything on his team, so it doesn't really bother me. I guess if I get a full parrot at a bad time, it could be an issue, but otherwise, not a big deal. And I go for Discharge, just trying to get some more chip damage, as he actually reveals the Superpower, which I did not expect, and he gets a crit, which does a ton, 52. But thankfully, because of Filter, I'm able to take that better than I otherwise would. So I try to recover here, but I get full parrot as he goes for another Superpower. So if I didn't have Filter, I most definitely would have been dead. And I would have been in a pretty terrible position, because at this point then, Kieran Black and Nidoqueen become very big threats to my team. So right here, I'm able to get off the recover, thankfully. I think at -2, I may have been able to take another Superpower. I'm not sure. Maybe like 1%, but I'm able to get back to a decent amount of health. I try to go for another recover here as he goes into Toxapex, but I get the full para. And I want to get back up to full health before I switch out. So I'm just going to stay in here because I don't really think Toxapex does much to me, and maybe Toxic Spikes. So I go for another recover here. He goes into Nidoqueen, so I'm thinking, alright, I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam. I'm not sure if he's trying to double out into anything, as he goes into Tangrowth. And I can definitely confirm from this damage, he's like, an Assault Vest set, takes that pretty well. Again, I don't want to lose the Eviolite and Porygon 2, so I'm just going to go out into Mega Altaria, which takes the knockoff pretty well. And I think, okay, I revealed the Fire Blast last time, and it won't knock him out if he's Assault Vest, but it'll do a decent amount to the point where I don't know if you'll want to stay in. I'm thinking he's probably going to want to go into Toxapex, so I'm going to go for the Draco Meteor here. But he does make the aggressive play to stay in, which works out pretty well for him. He takes the Draco Meteor pretty well, and he goes for Sludge Bomb, and he gets a Poison, which sucks. At this point, I'm just not sure how useful Mega Altaria is going to be. I decided to Roost up just to see, you know, what the rolls on for Sludge are for Sludge Bomb if I can stall him out. But he goes into Toxapex here, and I'm thinking, okay, well, he might go for like a Poison move, I'm not sure. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to go into Cobalion and try to set up a sub, and just try to see if I can, you know, get some offensive pressure going here, because right now, I just, not in a great position. Goes for a Baneful Bunker, which is not a big deal. And right here, I put a bit of bulk into Cobalion so that hopefully without a boost, he still cannot break my sub. He goes for Scald right here, and it does not break. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty solid position. He still might have Haze on this thing, and I guess maybe like HP Ground, although I don't expect it. So, but I am going to try set up here. It breaks my sub just because I already took a decent amount of damage, but I'm just going to go for another sub immediately, and pretty much just try to see what I can do. But he reveals Stockpile, which I'm thinking, alright, this is pretty interesting. I'm not sure if this thing gets like Spit Up or Swallow. If it gets Spit Up, maybe it can break my sub and Swallow, but he could also just have Recover, so I'm not sure how much that's really going to do. I'm just going to skip a few of these turns because I go for +6 as he goes for, he gets up to, you can only do Stockpile 3 times, and he starts going for Skulls, and he breaks my sub here. It doesn't really matter. Jable set up another one. So yeah, set up another here, and I go for a Hidden Power Ground. It does a decent amount. I'm not sure if he has Recover at this point. If he does, it's going to be kind of a stally war where I'm pretty much banking on a crit, and if I don't get a crit, he'll stall me out of Hidden Power Grounds, and then Cobalion will be walled by this thing, because Flash Cannon's not going to be doing anything. But it turns out he actually doesn't have Recover, so I think his set is Scald, Baneful Bunker, Stockpile, and Toxic. He told me after he meant to put Recover over Toxic, which means Cobalion's able to get rid of this thing. And I still have the sub up, which is going to make this thing more difficult to revenge kill. So I knock this thing out, and I'm in a pretty solid position at this point. And he goes out into Curum Black, I believe, here, and he reveals that he's Choice Scarf because he outspeeds me. And with Earth Power, he's able to break my sub, but I'm able to just straight up get rid of this thing with the Flash Cannon. He goes out into, after this, he goes out into Nidoqueen, which ends up also being Choice Scarfed. Luckily, he doesn't get a crit on the Earth Power, so I'm able to take it pretty well. And also just knock this thing out with a Hidden Power Ground, and from this, it's GG. Cobalion just straight up outspeeds the remaining things on his team, and is able to sweep. So, yeah, I go for the HP Ground here, and I go for the Flash Kill on Tangrowth, and I'm able to get the win. So, good game to Carlos. Cobalion was just able to put in a lot of work this game, more than I thought it would. I was hoping I could maybe get a few kills, and force him to make some switches with some hazards up and get off a lot of residual damage, but the set ended up straight up getting 5 kills and doing an absolute ton. So between this game and last game, Cobalion now has 8 kills and 0 deaths, so it's been probably the best pick I've made so far, and I'm really glad I was able to get it. Good game to Carlos again. We'll be facing again, I think, week 12, so, and maybe even in playoffs, because in playoffs, at least for the first round, you're most likely playing people within your division or your conference, so definitely a chance for your rematches there, and we'll see how those go. Next week, I'll be facing Chabin and the Irvine Igglybuffs, and that's a matchup, definitely not well, I'm looking forward to it, but I know it's going to be difficult. We faced twice in Season 2, and those were very intense games. I beat him barely one time, and then he beat me in a 0-0 game, actually. Then we faced once in Season 3, and I think I won with one Pokemon left at like 5%, so it ended up being a very intense game. So, looking forward to facing him. I know it's going to be difficult, but it should be fun. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.